now proudly presented on SNME. That's Sunday night's main event, Patreon and free feed.
Yo, we just people from the north side. Once the Timmy's hit the shore fine. Winter ready on the four ties. Heavy traffic during 4-5. Gotta hustle on your own time. Color people every port side. We just people from the north side. Once the Timmy's hit the shore fine.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's your host, your boy, George Mackay. It is the second week of March. The sun is shining. Depending on where you are, it's getting a little warmer, maybe getting a little colder. It all depends. In Ontario, we are experiencing the Canadian summer, which is warm weather in cold times, if that makes any sense. Because we should be experiencing like minus temperatures, yet we're experiencing 16 in March, which is pretty good. And as you can see beside me, I have someone who is way more beautiful than I will ever be in my life. The amazing, the one and only Tara Zep. How are you?
Wow, I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I got a chance to see you and meet you for the first time at Battle Arts Beaverton. Yes, we met in this.
Oh shit, that's right.
And you rocked it out. I loved the look. I loved everything about it. I was like, I got to know more. And then I started doing my research and I just fell in love with everything that is Tara Zep, from the look, how you carry yourself. And I started diving deeper, and your appearances on Taylor Wilde, I learned a lot about your love for pro wrestling. I mean, you're an amazing tattoo artist, and you have a lot of ink that tells a whole story for sure, which I love. I don't have as much ink as you do, but I've got a few tats. You know, I got to get more. Tattoos are like, it's hard to say because once you get one, I really feel like you can't stop.
Yeah.
And if you run out of canvas, there's always a tattoo that you regret, so you cover up more. Is that how you feel?
True.
Yeah, right?
That's true. Yeah, that is true.
Gotta have like somewhere randomly, like there's a Snoopy tattoo on someone. They're like, I got this when I was 16. I don't want this thing anymore. I got to put like something else there. You know what I mean?
That's kind of where I'm at right now, actually.
So you ran out of space.
Kind of, like I do have some space, not a lot, but it's not that it's not so much that I've run out of space. It's just that I got tattooed at such a young age that I'm kind of just like, I think I was so desperate to be a tattooed person so young that I just rushed. So I got a lot of stuff that is either horribly done or just whatever, just stupid crap that was trendy at the time, which was so long ago. So I've actually decided that I'm going to black out my arms.
Nice. Machine Gun Kelly
So,
stuff.
yeah, he started to do that too. It's something I wanted to do for a long time, but it's just such a process. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of pain. But I think it would be cool. I think I'm like ready to do that. I also used to have a partner that was like, do not do it. Do not do it. But, you know, I don't have that in my life anymore. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it. That being said, I don't really like a full blackout sleeve. But if you see some of them, actually, Machine Gun Kelly's is cool because he's got that negative space stuff where you can see all the old tattoos underneath. I think that's pretty cool. So I'm gonna do something like that, I think. But
I think you could pull
sooner
that
than
off.
later.
Yeah,
I think it'd be cool.
I don't think I can pull that off.
I don't know. I think they look cool, like on most people, especially if you are super tattooed. If you're not super tattooed, it looks weird, I think. Like, what's the point, you know? But anywho, that's my next stage in my tattoo journey, I suppose.
That's good. And you know what also too is because you put your body at risk so much with all the crazy shit you do in the ring, there's probably some scars that you can cover up too in the process, right?
Yeah, I don't mind the scars so much. And I don't really have scars on my arms yet. It's mostly on my back, but yeah, we'll see. It's going to be weird to like go through the healing process while I am wrestling though. So I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to do that. So I'm not like overlapping, shows with healing.
Yeah, you got to figure out, I got to heal from this, but I also want to kick ass here. So I've got to figure out where the balancing act is of how far can I kick the ass before I end up hurting myself. Right?
There you go.
So let's talk about, that's a great segue. We talked about the crazy shit you do in the ring. The character of the villain. I love everything about her. I love everything about Tara Zep. I mean, it's essentially you probably turned up to like 20, but I do see a fusion of a little bit of the Joker. I see you as if the Joker and Harley Quinn had a child that they were not aware of. That's who Tara Zep is. Am I wrong in saying that?
Not at all. Not at all. It's a cool vision for sure.
So
I was
where did the angle come from? Like, where did the idea come from?
so okay, you know, when I started training, I just wanted to be in wrestling so badly that I just was like, oh my God, there's a school here. I'm going to start training. So I never actually thought I'd start wrestling. I just wanted to train. And then I started the managing or whatever. And it wasn't me. Um, I didn't feel myself. And once I got like deeper into like being a part of the business, I guess I realized that like you can actually just be yourself and do your own thing. You don't have to, you don't, I mean, a lot of people think they have to, but you don't really have to like conform to a certain look or a certain character. So I decided like if I'm gonna start wrestling, like I'm doing this my way. So I kind of wanted to base my character on myself as a young girl. This isn't so much the makeup as much as it is the attitude and like the just the way I act, I guess, and like my kind of like my attitude and stuff. Being like introvert, a weirdo, not fitting in. So yeah, I guess that's where the Joker-y kind of like makeup comes from because he kind of has the same story.
Mhm.
And yeah, so I kind of based it on like me as a 12-year-old girl being like kind of like anti-system and doing my own thing, whether people like it or not, and a little bit of a punk, a little bit of a shit disturber, but mostly just like someone that doesn't really fit in, you know, and like kind of celebrating that person instead of shunning her as I did when I was a kid. So I wanted to celebrate her.
I love that. Absolutely love that.
Yeah.
Celebrating who you were when a time when you didn't know who you were, but remembering that she was that awkward girl trying to find herself. And now that you're older,
Yeah.
you know who exactly who you are. You're like, no, I want to bring her
Hmm.
back and show her that it does get better. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, kind of like that. I think if anything, I knew myself at that point in my life more than any time. And it wasn't until, you know, I don't know, meeting toxic people and being around in toxic environments and social media and bullies and everything that kind of changes who you are, who the real you is. And I wanted to like bring that realness back and not conform to like the standards of beauty or what people expect in wrestling out of women and how they should look.
You 100% have done that. You have
Yeah.
broken the mold in a very short time of exactly what people expect. And you were endorsed by the hardcore legend, Mick Foley, as one to
Yes.
as when Mick Foley calls you crazy, you know you got something special. You got lightning.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been amazing. So it's funny how I met him uh through an old friend of mine who does his like kind of his PR work and his Instagram and all that, and he does all his videos and his editing. He does a lot for him, and good friend of mine, like just like a wrestling friend. And he said that he was talking to Mick and that Mick came across my profile and thought like, oh, what's going on here? Like, I really like her look. Like, nobody's doing this. Who is this person? And Casey was like, this is my friend. Like, this is one of my very good friends. Like, you guys should talk. So we started chatting and you know, he wanted to get to know me and know what I wanted to do with my wrestling career and like the kind of person I was. And then we kind of went from there. And he was like, wow, you like hardcore, you like deathmatch, you know, that's pretty cool. You're a character based wrestler. You love doing promos and being a weirdo and being an outcast. And like, that's kind of like what he always did. Right. So we really just got along great and had a lot in common. And he's kind of been a mentor to me for a little while now. And just someone I can talk to and ask advice and Yeah, I was approached to do that death match, and I, of course, hit him up immediately. And I was very, very nervous, of course, and because it was John Wayne Murdoch on a big, huge wrestling promotion, probably one of the biggest ones going right now. And he was like, "I really want to be a part of this. I think that'd be really cool." And I was like, "Please, sir, take the reins, of course." So yeah, it's pretty
And he
cool.
got to represent what he loves more than wrestling, which is Santa Claus. So I mean, it's pretty
I
cool.
know. Yeah, I think it just all happened at the perfect, most beautiful timing because it was right before Christmas. And or was it right after? Yeah, it was right before Christmas.
Right before Christmas. Yep, December 16th.
It- yes, that's right. I should know the date, shouldn't I?
That's what I'm here for. Don't worry, I got you. I got you.
I already have CT. Yeah, so right before then, it was good timing, and he was already kind of talking about wanting to like do something in wrestling again. And then he had the chance of like being in a ring full of glass and barbed wire. So like, why wouldn't you want to do that? And it was like he was like, I'm also, I think he was like going through New Jersey to like see a family member or something. So it was just perfect timing, and it was just made to be. So yeah, it all worked out great. He kind of planned part of the match and worked with Danny Devano at ICW, and they made it happen. And he also was able to do like some charity work there too. He like signed a bunch of 8x10s and raised a whole bunch of money for a ref's daughter who had passed the year prior, so she could have a Christmas. It was just like amazing, beautiful.
Yeah, I love when I hear stuff like that, and I love the
I
fact
know.
the connection that you have when you say someone like Mick Foley is a mentor. I mean, that's crazy to me. Mick Foley is someone that you and I both probably, well, me, my childhood and my teenage years, you're much
Yeah.
younger than I am. So your childhood, we're gonna say,
Mhm.
into
Oh yeah.
your adolescent years. But I mean,
Mhm.
like Mick Foley has been around, he has captivated the world, and he has never been the typical pro wrestler. So when
Oh
somebody
yeah.
never been the norm says, I want to get to know you. I love what you're doing. I love everything about your look and your vibe. That's just like, okay, that's telling you, that's giving you that kind of, nod, like you got this, kid, you know what you're doing, and it's different and it's weird,
Hmm.
and it's
Hmm.
exactly what pro wrestling is, because pro wrestling
Hmm.
is nothing but a bunch of different and weird, amazing people getting together and beating the fuck out of each other.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I feel like I definitely don't fit into the typical, and of course he saw that immediately, that I don't fit into the typical um bracket of like athletic athlete all of her life kind of wrestler. I'm an artist, I'm a creator, I'm more of a performer. Yeah, and like more of like have that outcast vibe, and like that's him to a T, right? So um yeah, we could really bond on that, and he really he saw that and was like, this is cool, this is different.
Absolutely. And I when I kind of perused your Instagram page when I was getting to know you and even doing my research, going back through like the history of some of your posts, one of my favorite promos, hilarious. You're on a rooftop and you have a brick in your hand and you're using the brick as a cell phone. And
Uh-huh.
I was stupid enough to be watching this promo while I was drinking. And as soon as you said hello, I spit water all over the place because I was like,
Oh
she's talking through a fucking brick. What is
yeah,
happening here?
yeah,
You
that's
gotta tell
fun.
me about that. You got to.
Actually, it was an unfortunate case for that because it was supposed to be a tournament in, I think, Everett, Washington, and it ended up getting canceled. And that was like my part one of like a series of promos I was gonna do going into the tournament. And then like it wasn't long after I made the promo that it got canceled, so I didn't even get to like finish what I was doing. But yeah, it was just like a tournament. I was facing a bunch of women for some sort of trophy or something, and the promotion ended up shutting down as well. So that was unfortunate, but yeah, I wanted to have fun with that one. I try to get real silly with all my promos, and yeah.
You absolutely do. You get silly. And I want to go back to Battle Arts Beaverton. So the first time I saw you, I was able to call your match, and you had a barn burner with Wanda Del Rey. and you guys came
Mm.
out, you lit it up. You had a great match. I actually was there earlier watching you guys prep for the match and get everything ready, and it looked like it was going to be good, and it delivered. And it's cool because if you go on your YouTube, that is my radio voice that you hear calling all the action, so it's pretty damn cool. But
Well,
what was your experience in Beaverton? What was your experience working with another weirdo and outcast in Isaiah Bronson, who is even you two deranged is like a match made in hell. It's
mm.
not like a match made in heaven, but you two really do have the vibe of like, I feel like you two would kill each other just for the sake of it because it would be fun.
Yeah, Isaiah's a funny cat. He's a different guy. I met him at WWE because we're both X-Ring, and he asked me if I would be down to like do this angle with him because he had a kind of a similar character and vibe, and also like to do geeky, uh, super edited promos, you know, elaborate promos and stuff. So we had that in common. I think he's kind of more of an artist type himself. So we connected on that for sure. Unfortunately, Beaverton is a little bit of a far ways away from me, living on the other side of the country, and you know, I can't get there all the time. Otherwise, I would keep that storyline going. But yeah, it was really nice going there. I really enjoyed myself there, and Dave, the promoter, is an absolute doll and looked after me, and yeah, good experience. But like I said, I would be out there more often if it wasn't like flying to Toronto and then take a bus or a ride a couple hours to Beaverton and then figure out how I'm gonna get home. You know what I mean? So
I
it's
hear
a
you.
little bit of a yeah.
I hear you. Believe me, I live in
It's like a
Brampton.
whole weekend endeavor to get there for one night, and yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love them. They were great.
Yeah, no, they're
Honda's
awesome.
too.
It's one
Yeah.
of my favorite promotions to work for. And
Hmm.
then I got to see pop up at Destiny, another promotion that I work for. And
Yeah.
I'm starting to see everything that the villain is doing, and I'm digging it. My the gear that you wore at the past show in Oshawa 2 weeks ago, the all white gear, fire. You look
Hmm.
dynamite in that gear. You look insane in that gear. You look I just love it. I love everything. I love your black gear, but the white gear with the
Oh,
tat
really?
and the skid tone, I don't know, it's fire. It just looks
Okay.
good.
It's funny because like I was struggling with my gear. In the beginning, I don't know what I was thinking. Like I have like outside of wrestling, I have a very unique style that I've always kind of had. You know, I dress the way I dress, and like I've never really thought to dress differently. But then in wrestling, I was like, do I need to wear like a certain attire? Like, and I found like my gear was looking a little too sporty. And then I'm looking at photos back, and I'm like, I look like not myself. I don't feel myself. So I took an old pair of gear, that black kind of like leathery looking one, and I just like patched it up and painted it and fucked it up and whatever, and added a bunch of shit to it, and wore a bunch of like fishnet under and stuff. And I felt so myself and so much better, even in ring performing in that outfit rather than the other stuff. I really do like the white gear. I find that particular set, I think it's beautiful, but I think it's a little too beautiful, if you know what I mean. It has some sparkliness to it. And I just wasn't feeling me. But I have some new gear coming, white gear, and it's gonna be more like the black gear. It's gonna be patchy and like studded and stuff, but I specifically want to wear that one for death matches, probably, I think.
Absolutely. So I got to ask this:
Yeah.
being a deathmatch wrestler, I mean, every deathmatch wrestler has a weapon of choice. Mick Foley always had the barbed wire wrapped
Yes.
baseball bat. You know, John Wayne Murdoch, he loves his light tubes. Nick Gage loves his light tubes. Mance Warner, anything with a chair or a table, he's all about it. What is Tarzeb's go-to weapon? Do you have your own weapon of choice that you love when you're
I
doing
haven't
death
I
matches?
haven't I haven't set into one yet. Like I haven't made up my mind like this is my weapon of choice. I've thought about it so much. I've used skewers. I mean, I haven't done like a million death matches. I've done a few hardcore matches, and I use skewers on Amira and with Drexel, and I mean, I've used light tubes and stuff, of course. But I don't know, like there's so many wrestlers out there, like Atticus Cogar, his thing is skewers. Masada, skewers, Abdullah Butcher, and Eric Ryan, a fork. So it's like, what am I going to use, you know? So I haven't really quite decided yet, but I want it to be original, my own thing, because that's kind of like my steez. I don't want to really do anything that anyone else is doing. So I'm gonna figure something out, and it's gonna be fucking cool. But I haven't really gotten there yet. But for now, I'm just gonna play with everything and see what happens. But
100%.
yeah,
Whatever
I
can
was
hurt the body
I
most.
started to like I did this one show for Russell Core in Vancouver, and it was like they do this thing called Destroy Wrestling, where it's like this I guess sister company sort of thing, where they have bands playing, and the band will actually you don't come out to your own music, you come out to whatever the band's playing, and they'll like almost like improv it, so they'll play whatever. And so I thought it'd be cool to come out like in handcuffs and like make it like this big like elaborate entrance where I'm just like in handcuffs, and then the ref removes them, and then I'm allowed to wrestle, and then I have to be handcuffed again and leave the ring. And I in that match I used the handcuffs as a weapon. So I thought maybe, maybe I could stick with that, but I feel like I changed my mind so often. But in the Destiny show, I came out in the handcuffs too, and I thought that was cool. And I had those guys like escort me out and stuff, and like I think that's a cool vibe. But I don't know if I want to bust out that for every match or like special occasions or just certain, like surprise here I'm in handcuffs this time again, So
Absolutely.
yeah.
I get that.
But
I feel it could be.
but the handcuffs as a weapon has never been used. So if maybe that could be a thing for me, and choke them, hit them with it.
Just cuff them and beat the crap out of them in the center of the ring.
Why not?
Why not? I feel like that's the MO, right? Tarzan, she's
Yeah.
got the handcuffs. What's she gonna do? She's gonna beat the fuck out of him in the center of the ring. It's very simple.
Yeah.
Very simple.
Or they can be used against me. Like I had Amira cuff me to the ring, and then she like beat me and stuff like that. So yeah. It's just
I see
trial and
multiple
error and
avenues.
playing around with stuff and
Yeah.
see what works and what the crowd likes and stuff. And yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it. So what do you do? What do you do in terms of always evolving the character? Because this is a character that can go so many different ways. Any way
Totally.
you really want her to go to be expressed, what would you say is the not so much the logical next step in the evolution of your character, but where do you want this character to go? How dark or how deep do you want her to go? Like, does she have a darker side than we've already seen? Does she have a lighter side? Is there like an alternate ego to this character that isn't so dark? Maybe they're cute and adorable in a weird and demonic way.
I think she is more misunderstood than evil. I'm gonna use the Joker as a courting reference, but someone who's just basically had enough and is now out for revenge. So it doesn't mean they're necessarily a bad person. They're just absolutely pissed off and over being ridiculed and prosecuted for being themselves. And I definitely want to take that further. I really, quite honestly, what I want to do with wrestling isn't what a lot of people want to do in wrestling. I just want to push boundaries, and I'm not trying to be. That's the thing. I don't want to say too much, but I just want to do this for me, and I want to do this as like an artistic expression, and I do want to push boundaries. So I do want to do stuff like almost like an anti-diva sort of thing. Like, I had ideas of coming out in a blonde wig and all pretty in pink, and then ripping it all off to expose like what's underneath, like stuff like that, or like come out in a mask of like a beautiful stereotype woman, and the real me is underneath. But I mean, I guess Sting did something similar, not to that extent, but like, you know what I mean, like the double persona thing, like or whatever. And yeah, I definitely want to push some boundaries with that for sure. So I have so many ideas, and it's just time and money will put it together with gear wise, and I have some masks being made and stuff, but I don't want to leak too much.
Don't leak too much. I
want it to be a surprise too, but I am excited about it, and I do like talking about it. But there's I mean, Destiny is so wonderful. They're so they really like my gimmick and stuff, but I have issues with some companies not really understanding it or thinking it's too offensive, which is kind of weird, but especially like around this territory, I've been told it's threatening. I've been told it's too violent, but I mean, if I'm not booked as doing a violent act, then I don't know how it would be too violent. Maybe because I am interested in death matches and have done one. I don't know, but it's one of those things where I am going to be pushing boundaries with this character. So some people aren't going to like it. Some people are going to celebrate it. It is what it is. At the end of the day, this is for me, and I hope people are on board and they like it too. Or like see something, or they see something in themselves that I am trying to show the world, you know?
Absolutely.
So
I do. I
yeah.
see that. I see the misunderstood stuff, and I think that's what I connected with because, you know, I myself have had a growing pain, an evolution, if you will. If you met me 6 years ago, I was horribly angry. I was dealing with traumas in my life, and I was literally my marriage was hanging on by a thread.
Yeah,
I wasn't the best dad that I could be. I could have been better.
sure.
And it took my wife sitting me down to be like, we're not putting up with this. You
Wow.
you got to change. And
Sure.
but again, people don't always change when somebody pushes them. They have to realize it in themselves. And one day I did.
100.
I realized
Yep.
it myself, and I said, you know what?
Yeah.
I got to change. So I've been going through therapy for the last 6 years.
Good for you.
I
Good for you,
am
man.
more happier. I am
Good.
a way better
Yeah.
a way better dog owner. Like I got my dog pisses me off though. She bites my ankles and stuff. She's tiny and
Oh,
she annoys the crap out of me, but I still love her. I do. I love her, but it's a stay in your space kind of relationship. But
oh,
yeah, like I'm just an all around better person, and I felt that helped me getting over all the stuff that I was bottling up. Helped me
sure.
realize that it's okay to not be okay, and everyone
Oh,
has those challenges, and I think that's why I
definitely.
connected with your character. And I mean, hearing your stuff on Taylor Wilde, the stuff again, not to go back into the personal depths, but the addiction and the recovery, that is amazing.
Definitely.
I love that. I love that. Can we touch on that, because I really love the story. I love
Yeah.
the game and all. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
of course. Of course. I mean, I didn't start training until my 30s, right? So it's like my 99.9% of my 20s was, I mean, I've always worked hard. I've always busted my ass, but you know, I chose to be a tattoo artist, and but I also chose a life of kind of being a socialite in the sense that I would be out most nights, most weekends, all nighters, every weekend. And it became a huge problem, and I spiraled extremely hard. And I've always had mental health issues because, you know, generational trauma, uh, abusive childhood, abusive home, and stuff like that. And there's mental health in my family that runs my family. So it's like it's generational. And it took me a really long time to figure out how to start getting my shit together. And that's the thing, is like there's never like a time where you can't be forced into fixing yourself. You're just going to figure it out on your own. And it took me a long time to kind of figure it out, but I eventually, and I mean, I'm still figuring out. We're all figuring out. Nobody ever figures it out. It's always a challenge and a journey, but yeah, I'm still on that path. But I mean, your body eventually tells you that you need to do something different, or you start losing your relationships and your life starts to crumble around you, and you have to start picking up the pieces and get your shit together. Otherwise you're fucked. And you know, you don't want to lose, like what you said with your wife and stuff like that. Like you don't want to ruin all your relationships with the people you love. And that's what started happening with me, for sure.
Absolutely. My words were
Hmm.
the worst part for me. It was I never was physical, but very mentally abusive to my wife and my children, and very emotionally abusive. And
Yeah.
I regret that every day for what I put them through. But my kids are resilient. They've seen
Yeah.
past. What was a big moment for me is one of my daughters said to me and said it came up to me and said, "Daddy, I loved you always, but I love you more now." And
Oh,
that was all I needed to know that
yeah.
I've been putting in the work and doing it. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit emotional.
Oh, that's okay.
Just getting that stuff together and having that kind of validation was all I needed. And I thank my wife and my daughters for never giving up on me, because even there was a
Oh
point
yeah.
I gave up on myself, and I
Yeah.
I, I regret that, because I almost checked out, literally almost checked out,
Oh yeah.
and
Yep.
they refused to quit on me, which gave me
That's
the
great.
drive to not quit on myself. So
That's great. Yeah. I mean, being open to like I've had my moments too, but I just find, and I've said this on other podcasts too, it's like talking about it and just being open about everything. Like people are so ashamed of their trauma, and like and it's not even their fault. They're conditioned to be ashamed. And it's like the more you talk about it and open up about that stuff with your loved ones, they'll understand and they'll be patient with you. You just have to get through it together. And like at least you made the change. A lot of people don't, that they're in denial their whole lives and just drink themselves to death, like, a lot of my family has, and they have no regrets about it, but like you made the change, and that's amazing. It's fucking hard. It's not easy to do. It takes a strong person to do that. So yeah, and seeing a therapist is fantastic.
amazing, amazing.
I don't
They can really
I
get.
don't know where I'd be without mine.
I'm telling you,
And
man.
I've had many, trust me. So yeah.
I love it. I love the fact of having someone who doesn't know you, but yet gives you no judgment. They just sit there, they
Yeah.
listen, and they say to you, "Okay, well, you're seeing it from this perspective, but what if you saw it from this one?" And I'm just like,
Hmm.
mind blown. Like something so simple, but when somebody tells you that, it's like, damn. I mean, it's so simple, but I never saw it. But now I have a pathway to see it, which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Therapy is the next. Honestly, therapy is the next best thing to sex. I'll say it. I love sex. I love therapy. Not sex with my therapist, because you can't do that. But I just love those two in
Uh-oh.
general. Yeah, that's trouble. We've all seen movies where that ended horribly wrong. Okay, we've all seen them.
Yeah.
Speaking of fucked up movies,
Sopranos.
I feel like, oh, there you go. I feel like you and I are on the same wavelength of like, are you a horror girl? You love horror movies?
Yeah, yeah. I'm more
Okay.
of like a psychological horror than like a Freddy versus Jason horror.
And that's totally fine. I mean, I got Freddy on the hat. Freddy is my guy. He's my go-to.
I mean, yeah, like I love that shit as a kid and stuff, but like I mean like now to watch stuff, I pretty much can only watch like horror kind of slasher stuff.
Nice. What did you think of Thanksgiving? Did you watch Thanksgiving?
I did not watch Thanksgiving.
You got to get into that, Tara. I'm telling you, man, it's so
Who?
classically bad that it's good.
Oh, it's bad.
No, it's
uh
bad, but in the best way possible. Like it's bad.
oh,
It's good bad.
when is it from?
Well, it actually came out this past November,
Oh,
2023.
really?
Yeah, man.
I it's weird. I haven't even heard of it.
Really? Oh, it was Eli or Eli. I don't know how you pronounce it. Eli Roth, the guy that did Cabin Fever, Hostel
Oh, okay.
movies. He came out with this like slasher, but like set in like a 90s vibe, but it's like set in modern time, and it's classic 90s slasher, but some of the kill sequences are just fucking phenomenal. And I'm not
Oh,
I'm not
cool.
big on that stuff, but it was a fun, enjoyable, good bad movie. That's what I'll say.
Sweet.
You got to check
Sweet.
it out. And it's only 90 minutes long. Very quick.
Oh, that's cool. There's like a bunch of those kind of like made to seem like a B movie sort of horror movies, like Terrifier. What was that one? I actually just watched it recently and it was shockingly good. I actually thought it was gonna be so shit and it was amazing. I think it's just called like a horror story.
Okay. Okay.
I should look it up, but it was on Netflix, but it was like made to seem like it was really corny, but it ended up being some of the gnarliest kills I've ever seen in a movie, and but like in a corny sort of way.
Yes. That's
Very,
what
very,
Thanksgiving is. Corny
yeah,
but
very,
great.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's just like kind of nostalgic. Yeah, I really like that vibe, but I'll check out Thanksgiving. I'm always looking for movie request or suggestions
Recommendations. Yeah,
constantly.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, yeah, because my life is pretty much other than training and going to work, I watch movies. That's all I do. So yeah.
I love my movies. I love my classics. I'm a horror guy, but I'm an action guy. Quentin Tarantino is my favorite. I love Quentin.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
Reservoir Dogs. When I was 9 years old, I faked homesick because my parents rented it and they didn't take it back to the video store.
Oh, that's so cool.
I faked sick and I popped that thing in the VCR and it changed my life.
Wow.
It taught me about not tipping, and it taught me about, Toby Wong, finding an old address book, and it taught me that it's okay to be named Mr. Pink. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, that movie was great.
Great.
Yeah, Quentin Tarantino was like my dude when I was growing up, for sure. That was like all I cared about watching, like Kill Bill and stuff like that. Really strong female characters and like revenge. I love a revenge movie. It's my favorite. Spit on Your Grave and shit like that. Like, I love that.
You like, okay, now I love the original Spit on Your Grave.
Yeah, the original is the one I'm actually talking about. I wasn't a fan of the
remakes, right? Yeah, the remakes were horrible. They were trash.
I saw the one remake. I didn't see any others because I just didn't care. The first one was so cool though. It was fucking scary. It's gross. Yeah.
For the 70s, it was pretty grimy. Like when she runs over that one guy with the boat in the lake, like, damn.
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, it's really cool. I watched it as like a little kid too.
Yeah, me too. I watch so many Turner classic movies. Yeah, it fucks you up. It does. It fucks you up. But that's okay. That's all therapy sessions. That's what that is. You get over it.
Yeah, exactly. Made me who I am today. Natural Born Killers might be my favorite.
Natural Born Killers.
Yeah, and
Nice.
yeah, I think I pull a lot from Mallory.
I could see that. I could see
my
that.
character.
Yeah.
In fact, I did a day recently where I'm like, I'm gonna watch all the movies that kind of inspire my character just to like, I don't know, just refresh it and like recharge it a bit. And like, yeah, Mallory is such a psycho and like I love her. She's so cool.
Do you ever sometimes play the game with yourself? Like I do this all the time where I'll just sit down and I'll think of an old movie and I'll think, I wonder what it would be like if they filmed it now in modern times. Like if Natural Born Killers came out now, 2024, who could you see playing Mallory? Nobody else? Is there any actress now that you think could play that character?
It's so hard. I am such a dick when it comes to remakes. I'm so sick of it. Like seeing that they're remaking The Crow is just offensive to me.
100%.
You could never outdo Brandon Lee. It's also like, do the Lees feel weird about that? It's like they're fucking Brandon died making that movie, like, and now you're remaking it with this nerd. I don't know. But to play Mallory, I have no idea. I don't even know who exists as an actress these days. Like who is weird enough to play that character? I don't know.
That I could think of off the top of my head, no one. There's no one that
I can't think of on the top of my head. I'd have to do some research on these actresses.
Christina Ricci, maybe if she was younger, maybe.
Well, that's the thing, right? Is that they're pretty close in age.
Exactly. So that's that's the juxtaposition. Actually, you know what? Jenna Ortega, the girl that plays Wednesday in the Netflix show.
Okay, maybe.
I think she could pull it off.
I didn't see that show yet. I do plan on watching it at some point, but I haven't watched it yet, but it seems really cool. But yeah, she seems like a neat person. I actually read about her a little bit. She seems cool. But yeah, maybe her. There's that actress that's in The Menu. Did you see that?
Yes, I know. I don't know her name, but I know who you're talking about. That's
the far apart eyes.
Yeah, that's a great. Yeah. Okay, so I'm not the only one that noticed that, right? Her eyes are very far apart. Okay, good.
She's very interesting looking, and I think somebody like her would actually maybe kill that role. Maybe, yeah.
I think you and I could produce the remake and make it successful. That's what I think. We could do
it. Maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Just that era of horror, psychological horror, and thriller is just can't really beat it, right?
No, you absolutely can't.
No, it's so like artsy and weird and just far out, and
that's what made the '90s great, though. Like that's what made them. You can't get that back. And I want to touch on this though, because you and I are. I'm a Sting mark, and I know you're a Sting mark, and I know that you watched his last match yesterday, and I know you welled up a little bit. You had some tears in your eyes. I read that on Twitter.
I
I was working last night, so I had to watch it early this morning before I went to work. But I thought it was fantastic. I thought 29-0. They really made Sting go out the way he's supposed to go out, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I just popped so hard when he went through the pain. I was like, is he gonna do it? Is he gonna do it? Is he gonna do it? Ah! What a way to go out. Incredible.
And the Suns dressing up like all the different eras of Sting, I thought that was fantastic too.
So cool. Also, the Sun. I'm surprised the Suns never wrestled. I guess they are football players or were.
Yeah, they
The
were.
guy, the one kid who had his red outfit on. Do you see him jumping?
He had some hops, man. Yeah.
Guy's athletic as hell. It's like, why is this guy a wrestler?
He did the splash better than Dad. Well, he did the splash like Dad
no.
back in the day.
Yeah, that was insane. I'm like, oh my god. Yeah, that was a beautiful story and it was fantastic. I loved it. I was so stoked. And I was totally emotional. And his little
It is though, right? Wrestling is all about bringing out that emotion, and people forget that sometimes.
oh yeah, I know. I know. Yeah, it's not really what it used to be for sure. But
It's sad.
it's got its moments.
It does. It still has its moments of. So there's still some times where, like I said, like you, I popped and I was like, I don't. If you could get that general reaction out of me being a wrestling fan my entire life, I'm like, yeah, I'm good. This was worth it.
I wish there was more character-based storylines. Like they have like interesting characters, but they don't really use them, right? And they don't really have stories. They just like appear randomly. And I dislike that. But it's just the way it is today, I guess. They don't want to like push too many boundaries these days. They're afraid to offend somebody.
Yeah, because well, you could be offended if you were to tweet right now, and once we got off this interview, if you were to tweet and say, "I love salt more than pepper," you would be in all kinds of trouble.
Oh, I'm constantly in trouble.
So am I.
I don't care. If you don't like it, then don't subscribe, whatever. I find that people do like it though. People do like the truth. They just don't like to be truthful. They want somebody else to voice their opinions for them. So that's why I use Twitter. I'll say what you're too afraid to.
Yes. I will say and do what you're too afraid to do, and I'll do it with a smile on my face, and then I'll call someone on my brick cell phone and ask them if they care. That's what I'll do.
Yeah, I'm too old and been through way too much to give a fuck what people think anymore, to be quite freaking frank about it. Yeah.
Preach. And that's why I knew this interview was going to be phenomenal, and it has been. I've had so much fun. Thank you so much for the time. Is there like I said, this is going to drop next week, so mid-March, is there anything you want to put over, any upcoming shows or anything like that on all your socials? If people aren't following you, which they should be, where can they find the world that is Tara Zap?
On Twitter and Instagram, it's Villain Tara Zap. I pretty much just use those. I dabble with TikTok, and I think it's official Tara Zap. I don't even know what it is. Oh my god. But yeah, mostly just IG and Twitter. I do want to talk about quickly my match upcoming for Overmania weekend with ICW again, the same promotion I worked with Mick at. And I have my second big death match with Shazza McKenzie, and I'm really excited for that. I think about it every day, and I'm hoping that people will tune in and support that journey for me, because it's something I'm pursuing deeply and it means a lot to me. So yeah, I got a lot of I promote the shit out of my stuff, so everything that I'm doing in the next little while is up on my socials. But yeah, that one Overmania weekend is the one I'm really looking forward to. So
absolutely. Yeah. And I knew about that one. I knew you were going to put that one over, so I can't wait for that one. I'm definitely going to be watching that one. But I love both of you guys, so it's going to be hard for me to pick a winner. I guess I guess either way I'll be happy, because if she wins I'll be happy, if you win I'll be happy. Either way it's a win-win for George. It really is.
All that matters is that we're going to absolutely kick the shit out of each other. That's all you need to know.
Yes,
that's 100%. All I need to happen. So
yeah, and hopefully by then you'll have your weapon of choice.
Yes, trust me, I'm thinking about it. Big time.
Yeah. What about a weed whacker filled with toothpicks? No, too much. Too much?
No, That would be a hard one to travel with, like in my
Yeah.
luggage. Like, oh yeah.
Yeah, how do you explain
Weed
that?
whacker.
to business, eh? What do you got there, ma'am? I got my weed whacker with toothpicks. Nothing big. Don't worry.
Right?
Fine.
Yeah, I know. Shit. Yeah, I mean brainstorming. Hey, if fans want to like give suggestions on my Twitter or something, that'd be cool.
Do it. Guys, do it.
Love
Twitter is-
all the suggestions.
Her Twitter is fantastic, and she definitely does interact, and she's a sweetheart. And now I can say, I can call her a friend, and we can officially announce that she is now a member of the Straight Talk family. Anytime you
Yay!
come back, you are more than welcome to. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the time. And just, I enjoy watching your journey, and keep doing you, because you're fantastic, and you're an inspiration to a lot of people. So remember that.
Thank you. That actually means the world to me. Truly.
Well, it's the
Thank you.
truth. It is the truth. Guys, that's it for this one. Peace, love, and wrestling. We'll see you next week. Peace. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and turn on that notification bell so you get notified each time we post a video. Alternatively, you can check us out on all podcast platforms and hosted on Podbean. We are also available on the SNME network. That's the Sunday Night Main Event Patreon. Please feel free to check us out there as well. And don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms at _Straight Talk on Twitter, at Straight Talk Wrestling on Instagram, Straight Talk Wrestling on Facebook, Straight Talk Wrestling on TikTok, and of course, you can check out all our merch at ProWrestlingTees.com.
I don't need a nigga cosign. Without the liquor, you become a victim. You ain't never got a pole mine. I ain't messing with this generation. Fuck your gender, I ain't got.